Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 132 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. I am your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex. And joining me today, all on his lonesome at the moment, the differential king, Barry Stokes. Barry, where in the world are you today?
That's where I was previous ones in Leicestershire. I've changed scenery. I'm in Works van. And I'm glad this podcast is back because I don't have to worry about any runners and riders at Cheltenham festivals because, yeah, I'm on a shocker. Good job Martin tipped his ones, or I'm back in profit. So
And do you
happy
not get
days.
my dad's each way? My dad's each way. It was pretty good.
No, I didn't do that. I've only just started doing it. I thought, I know best. Do mine. No, I'm going template like these free hits that we're going to talk about soon.
Yes, we will. We'll touch on the free hits, but yes, yeah, I hope everyone's Cheltenham's going well if you are betting on that, and obviously gamble aware and all that nonsense. Just bet as much as you're willing to lose, because that's what I do, and inevitably I lose it. So don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from. Give us 5-star reviews. Click the little bell icon, and also follow us on our social media platforms: Oddball Pod, Oddball P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And also follow the FPL Affairs group on Facebook that Barry posts all of our graphics into. Um, right, let's get cracking. Let's talk about Manager of the Week. And well done to. Oh, God, my little icons popped down in front of me. There we go. Got it. Welcome to Dalibor. Drill Joe? Drill Joe? Drill Joe? Drill Joe? Um, Sorry if I've absolutely butchered your name, Dalibor, but congratulations on 81 points. On a week that was very low scoring, I think it was average 51 or 52, 52, I think. Sanchez in goal with 9. Bit of a gamble pick, really, considering Jorgensen has been playing, but fair play. Double Chelsea defence was the right move did that week, playing Southampton, weren't they? Nori, Byrne, Damsgaard, Salah, Enzo, Zaboszlai, Mamouche, Scott's boy, Ollie Watkins, and Haaland played his assistant manager Chip for Hertzler, yeah, to get 81 points. With quite a few people close to you. Yeah, they got a shout out to former champion Adrian Chippendale. I think got 76 points. A couple of other people who were pretty close by. Sorry if I do miss your name in terms of a shout out of being close. Mr. Ashley got 74. But yeah, our boy at the top of the league, Kieran Ball, the Crystal Ball's got 71. And he goes top of the league with Sam Camoni there in second. Both of them bypassing Sam Danby Bailey. But there's 8 points now covering the top three in the league. It is so close. A further 39 points back. We've got Ali Farrell, who is up to fourth, still trying to go back to back. I've got to give this guy a shout out because to go back to back to win a league with 125 people in it, you're not doing that again. That's that's pretty incredible if you manage to do that. Gavin Webb, absolutely smashing it as always in fifth place. Well done to you, Gavin. And we won't bother reading out six, will we, Baz? So yeah, free hits. Let's do it, Barry. You've decided that there are no changes from your differential from last week at all.
Yeah, I just thought leave it. End of the day, thought quite a lot of them been performing quite nicely, to be honest. Semedo's looked more threatening than Ain't Nori in my eyes, to be honest. And Xerxes looked actually pretty decent. So yeah, why not? And Ganacho is rolling the dice, is starting a bit more. So even though I had that little wager with you regarding about goals scored, I should have gone FPL points, to be honest.
You should have
Since
you should have done it on assists, mate,
yeah,
because
because
Rashford is assisting Asensio every single bloody week,
yes.
even Champions League.
Yeah,
I think that he assisted in the Champions League as
he
well.
did, yes.
Yeah, uh, that's it just. I mean, fair play to Rashford. Some of these assists are a bit funny, but most of them are decent, and yeah, he's playing well. And it just goes to show he's a half decent footballer. Um, but there you go.
When he's playing with better players, probably makes him look better, to be honest.
I mean, he had his best season playing next to Vegas, mate. Anyway, but let's not worry. Let's not worry
Very
about
true.
too much. Um, yeah, I agree with you though. Semedo 8 is pretty close in terms of picks. I wanted to just I'll get the scouts pick up. I think it was or was it the FPL experts pick? Let me do that one. Yeah. So the FPL experts pick on the website sells in goal Guardiola, Dallo, and 8 Foden, Bruno Fernandes, and Bumo, Gibbs White, Clivert, Howland, and Wood. I mean, literally, it has two changes to what I put out there last week alongside yours in terms of the template. Um, I'll get up the guys on Stick to FPL who just a little shout out to FPL mate because he does always put our name up on our podcast on the FPL mate stuff when I contribute to the 100 expert stuff that he puts out. So thanks for that to Dan. Sells Gabriel. He's got Gabriel in there, which is an interesting pick. The Arsenal defender thing for me. I don't know what you think, Baz, but I know Palmer's not producing, but Chelsea do seem to be scoring. Would you have an Arsenal defender if you were free hitting?
Probably not, to be honest. But like I say, everything usually comes through Palmer, and if he's not playing well, then it's worth a shot. But maybe he's going for attacking returns from Gabriel because Chelsea are quite vulnerable in defence, but obviously Arsenal haven't scored from a set piece in quite a while. So it's worth the gamble, especially if you're free hitting. You probably want some premium players in there because there's not really a lot to pick from. So for me, I wouldn't have him in, but I can see why because potential attacking returns from corners, especially with the mix up with the goalkeepers, Jurgensen or Sanchez. They're not obviously great with their feet, but I don't think they're that great at coming for crosses. So yeah, I can see the gamble why they've put him in. So yeah.
Just don't think Gabriel scored since November. Well, I think that's it, isn't it? It's. I just want to know. Yeah, for me, yeah, I agree with you. I can see what they're getting at, but I just don't agree with it. It's not. Yeah, an Arsenal defender's problem. But yeah, Gvardiol, Ait Nouri, Bruno Fernandes, Ødegaard's in there, Clivert and Boomer, Hudson-Odoi, Haaland and Wood. So again, we are finding that template is relatively strong. As you go along, you've pretty much always got. I mean, there's a couple of other goalkeepers on these, by the way. So I'll put up the actual AI pick. So this was quite interesting. On the Fantasy Football Hub, they went for Leno in goal against Spurs at home
Okay.
for for 3.8 predicted points. Now, I was pretty shocked by that. But they've got 3.8 predicted points. Um, Funnily enough, they've done it because Raya's predicted 4.2, but they've already got three Arsenal players in here. Pickford's actually predicted 4, which is a little bit weird as to why he's not been put in goal on the AI. I don't. I don't know why, but this is apparently the best free hit team, even with the AI picks. Edison's predicted 4, and then it's Leno. But Leno's predicted the exact same amount of points as Sells, and Sells is in, well, pretty much all of the free hit teams that I've seen. Um, just I don't know why that's in there. But anyway, just goes to
Is
show.
it in there because of cost? Because I'm just looking at the bench; it's cheap,
Yeah, maybe
but
it's a cost. Oh
because
God,
they've got
Palmer
Palmer,
injury.
Bruno, Haaland,
Yeah,
and then quite a very expensive defense.
yeah, maybe.
So maybe that's the reason, but
Yeah.
I'm clutching at straws.
No, maybe it is a cost thing because that's why I mean Timber's in as well at 5.6. He's got the same predicted points as Saliba. Interestingly, at 4, you've got Hujison and Kirkez 3.9 and 3.8 in terms of points they're predicted. Milenkovic at 3.8 as well as a pick for Nottingham Forest, and yeah, Aitner is there at 3.6. So you can see it in terms of midfielders. Yeah, Palmer, Bruno. Foden's actually in there at 5.4, exactly the same predicted points as Bruno Fernandes. So again, this might be a cost thing. Semenya's at 5.3 and so's Ødegaard 5.3. So Foden at 9.2 million probably isn't in this team because he's not affordable. But yeah, Cliver up there as well and Bumo at predicted 5 points just for an AI.
Another thing as well, they've got double Arsenal defence, but they've got Palmer. So once if Palmer scores, it just wipes out the clean sheets. I,
Yeah,
I just don't get that. AI's gone mad.
it's
Aye, but
yeah, and the top
what do I
three.
know?
No, no,
I don't back it. I don't back winners. So
Yeah,
So yeah,
but I think the point you're making is important though, because and this is something that I remember back when Tom did the podcast with us, he always talked about. He was very keen on not having players that contradicted each other in his team. So he was like, well, I look at the forward fixtures. I'm not going to pick this defender because they're going to be playing against three of my attackers in the next 6 game weeks. So I'm not going to do that. And that's fair enough. I mean, it makes sense in terms of maximizing your points, doesn't it? So why would you not?
100%.
And there's absolutely no way I'd be picking two Arsenal defenders when I'm vice captaining Palmer. I just don't think that seems to make any sense whatsoever. And the final one was the scouts pick. And the scouts pick that came out today is relatively interesting because they've gone for Pickford in goal, probably based on the fact that they probably don't want double Forest defence. Maybe that's the reason. I wouldn't be against double Forest defence, to be quite honest. Kept a clean sheet against Arsenal for a 0-0 and a clean sheet against Manchester City.
Yeah.
What? I,
And
I,
City didn't even look like scoring.
no, I think personally, in my opinion, a double. It's something that I would consider. A
But
double,
then you're losing out on Gibbs White and Wood then.
which is why I haven't got it.
Yeah.
That's the I've gone Sells, Gibbs White, and Wood. But if you, for example, wanted to take your Gibbs White out, or and then go for another defender, I wouldn't be massively against it. There's a few other midfield options that we've got that we've discussed. But yeah, I think the blend of one defender, one midfielder, one attacker from that Forest team is pretty good. They've gone for your boy Strand Larsen, Baz.
Yeah. He didn't. He had a good chance against who did they play? It was Everton, wasn't it? On Monday night, was it? And Pickford made a great save from it. But it was a tight angle. But apart from that, he didn't look like he was going to score. Might be because Cunha's not there, so they're not going to get that many chances because he creates a lot. So that could be a reason why it by it, but
Mhm,
it's against Southampton, isn't it? And we know what they're like defensively. Even though I think they've kind of got a bit better
mhm.
with Juric in, but it's not a million miles better. And I think most of us, like we do on the differential drafts, we attack that Southampton fixture thinking, right, we're going to get some points out of this.
Yeah.
So it could be the same with Leicester because Leicester at the moment aren't great, not scoring either. So I'm surprised the Man United defender hasn't been on there, even though we know what Man United defense is like.
Oh,
It's not really, it's not consistent,
you
but
mentioned this on your template, your differential though. You've gone Delit,
yeah,
and I think Delit or Maguire. I think Maguire's probably a bit more of a threat from set pieces. But if he's in, might be injured, obviously, it's still a thing. But if he's fit, then Maguire's a shout. But Delit, I don't disagree with you at all. I think we look decent from set pieces, and I feel like if that's when we're going to score, if it feels like if we're going to score, that's when we're going to score. Our outfield lot just aren't really delivering moving forward at the moment. With Hoyland, obviously, he's not scored for ages. That's well documented. Xerxes looked great at the link up. There's definitely an assist in him, if not a goal. Obviously, scored in the week in the Europa League. So yeah, but everything good really comes through Bruno. So if I was going to have two Man United assets, I'd be having Bruno and probably De Ligt because he's more likely to start. But if I know Maguire's starting, I'd have Maguire over De Ligt. But those would be the two options I've had, and maybe a push a Mazraoui because he does drop into those more threatening positions, like Dallo does on the other side. But I just don't trust Dallo's decision making in those key areas. I know we had the one moment in the Sociedad game where he should have squared it to Hoyland quite obviously, but yeah, I think Mazraoui would be. He looks just like a probably a better footballer. Um, but anyway, that's my point of view on that one.
should have kept him then, shouldn't I? Should have transferred him out.
Yeah, still third choice, I think, behind De Ligt and Maguire. Um, yeah, and the Bournemouth assets got to shout out Evan Nilsson, your boy Baz, as well. Someone you've bigged up this season. He's got to be on the radar for this week, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's on the radar for Arsenal. I think next season, screaming out for a number nine, it could be a good option for him. Um, but yeah, I think when I put him in my differential draft free hit template, it was like under 1%. Now he's like 2%. So everyone's getting on that, thinking, hold on, he scored in the FA Cup, scored against Tottenham. So he's come back from his injury with a bang. So hopefully he doesn't bang and get injured. So 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 yeah, I think he's a great shout. And it's a battle, it's a toss up between him and Wissa in people's teams. I think for the free hit because they both play each other as well. So and Scott loves a home fixture, so he probably would pick Evan Nilsson over Wissa on that one, even though Wissa's XG is ridiculously high.
Yes, I mean this is the thing. I mean I've got Kirkes currently in this team, which goes against everything we've said about going against attacks and defenses with Mbumo and Visser in the team that I've put out there. Kirkes taken out for a Delit or a Semedo and going double Wolves against Southampton or anything along those lines is fine. I mean Dallow's one of the players I'd potentially down as well who could go in that team. But just to read it out before we move on to the fixtures moving forward, the team that I put out there was Sels Guardiola. This is for podcast listeners. So I know you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. Sels Guardiola, Ait Nuri, Kirkes, Bruno Fernandes, Gibbs White and Bumo and Clivert, Haaland captain, Wood and Visser. This is the team I would probably still pick. I think if I was wildcarding, bench of Saar, Bowen, Semedo, and Cresswell. Uh, just comes in at just over 100 million, I think, or it's just about 100 million. Um, yeah, if you were, last question, Baz, if you were free hitting right now, what's your starting 11?
Well, throw me under the bus, man. I ain't done that because
And
I hadn't really thought about it because I'm not free hitting. I probably would have double Forest defense, just because Gibbs White hasn't. Yeah, he got an assist for Hudson-Odoi, but he's not getting in attacking areas much because he was playing a bit deeper. But that might have been because he was playing City and Arsenal
Mhm.
in the last couple of games. Alanga's looked like he's been off it. Hudson-Odoi, my boy, scored, and obviously he's doing well, and he could be a potential option. But my transfer this week is either Mateta or Watkins for Wood because I think Wood's going to be dangerous in this game. I'm going to captain him as well.
Okay,
Um,
nice. Yeah, yeah.
so I'm going to bring him in, captain him, and hope for the best. And we'll see on that one. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's not really that difficult. I don't think in defence. The reason people are picking Kirk is because his assist machine at the moment. His assist for I can't remember whose goal it was, Tavernier or Evan Nielsen's one, and it was wonderful.
Mhm.
So you're looking at attacking returns with that because as I keep saying every time, it's very rare you get a clean sheet. So you might as well go for fullbacks that get in the box, and on your template there you've got Guardiola that gets in the box, Ait Nori gets in the box, and Kirk that gets in the box. And that would probably be my defense if I was doing it, just for that reason of having attacking returns. And then strikers, I probably would bring Arlen back because he looks like he's scoring again, even though he didn't really have a sniff against Forest. But quite many teams don't have a sniff against Forest because they're that good defensively.
Mhm.
Wood, as I mentioned, he'll be in, and it will probably be a three-way coin flip between Larson, Evan Nilsson, or Wissa. So yeah, it's one of them where I'd still be struggling now if I was still doing a free hit. I'm probably still struggling at whenever the deadline is, thinking which one of them strikers I'm going to pick. So yeah,
Yeah, I think Strand Larsen's the definite third choice there, though, isn't he? I think it's probably Evan Nilsson versus Visser for me on that other one. I like the fixture for Strand Larsen, obviously, and I like the potential for him, but yeah, I think it's Evan Nilsson versus Visser for that third striker. Um,
yeah, I think that might be correct because, as I mentioned, Cunha is not playing, and obviously he gets a lot of the ball and creates a lot of stuff. And that Munseri as well was his name. Marshall Muncie.
You know better than me, mate. He was 0.1%,
He
0.1%
looks
in my team.
he looks a threat and does a little damage as well. But he might be out injured. So it's one of them.
Yeah, we'll get onto captains in a bit, but armband for me is on Wood as well at the moment, mate. And I've got him, but it's an interesting topic. So let's have a we've got to talk a little bit hypothetically here, which is a little bit annoying because but we have to just touch on it because before the game week 30 deadline, the FA Cup fixtures take place. So just to clarify, in fact, I'll put up Ben Crellin's thing as well on here because it's uh, a good illustration on the potential singles and doubles. So it's just the 32, 33 here we've got here. But this is the doubles and the this is for the doubles and the blanks, I should say. So blank game week 29 has got four teams blanking in it. We know Palace, Newcastle, Villa, and Liverpool for the Carabao Cup final. Then before the game week 30 deadline is the FA Cup quarter-finals. So the FA Cup quarter-final matches are Bournemouth, Man City, Forest, Brighton, Fulham, Palace, Villa, Preston. That's a great memory, by the way, because I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it. And I've just remembered all the fixtures. Pat myself on the back, why don't I? What a host. Um, uh, we've got in game week 30, in game week 32, in game week 33, sorry, I'll get your graphic up, Baz. Um, City actually play Villa, and then also Bournemouth play. Who did Bournemouth play? I'm sure they play some. Oh, here he is. Scotty's here. Um, there's a chance anyway that we'll only have three fixtures blank actually in game week 34. That's the one in game week 34, which is quite interesting, really, because there's an opportunity that it won't actually be that big of a blank game week. But we do need to make sure we've planned ahead if you aren't wildcarding in game week 30 about the sort of players that you need to buy in particular. And that's the point of the graphic that Baz has done here. He's tried to um, point out the teams that we should be looking at investing in moving forward. So, Baz, the key teams we were looking at, wrote these down earlier on. Arsenal got to be on that list.
Yeah, 100%.
Bournemouth as well. Ipswich, West Ham, Fulham, potential double game week in 33 as well.
Yeah,
Even though they have got to get past Man City in the next game. Brighton, they've got decent fixtures. Villa at home, Palace, and then the Leicester at home in 32. Then again, a potential in 33. Liverpool and Newcastle obviously on the list as well, even but they do blank this week. And then Man City's got to be on there. Baz, you pointed out as well West Ham, Fulham, and potentially I can't remember who the other team was that you might have mentioned. Was it Forest? I assume. Look at these
yeah,
fixtures.
it was Forest. Yeah, just for the fact, obviously, if you're looking at that, I've done used the Fancy Premier League colours as well to match. So grey, green, green, and then a red fixture. And how they're performing at the moment, I was thinking, well, why don't I do a set and forget my goalkeeper and put Sells in? Could be a potential option and save my money, so I can potentially get like a Haaland and Salah and maybe a Saka when he's back fit, and go all out because end of the day I need to catch up, and if I don't have any of them players, then I'm probably struggling. And I think if it counteracts if Haaland doesn't perform, Salah will perform, and if Saka doesn't perform, Haaland will perform, and so on. So that's why I thought by having that extra zero point 0.5 mil gives me that leeway to potentially get that. I haven't done a wild card draft yet of such, but that's the way I'm looking at it and getting like a maybe like a Areola at 4.2 or 4.3, or maybe a Sanchez or a Jurgensen, but they don't keep clean sheets, and well, West Ham don't. And as I mentioned, most people don't, apart from Sells, who's got 12 Golden Glove. So
Yeah.
that's one reason why I thought he could be a good option.
As I think as well, we've just got to. That's why we're going to do a podcast on that Monday before the Tuesday deadline, and we'll do a live one. We're committing to doing that because it's just so important for the rest of your season. If you are going to be looking at wild carding in game week 30, like hopefully we'll have a really good idea, or we'll at least be able to quite accurately predict what the blanks and doubles are going to be in 33 and 34. I mean, you'll never know about 36, 37 until you see who wins the semi-finals of the FA Cup. But I mean, you might be able to have a decent stab at predicting those as well. But the other thing to point out is that um, Arsenal look like they're going to have well, they might potentially have a double game week in 33. We know if Crystal Palace get through because Arsenal are still in Europe, that'll be locked into 33. Aston Villa, if either them or Manchester City get through, we know that'll be locked into 33 because we've had a few because Villa are still in Europe. So we've had a few curveballs, and the second leg as well doesn't happen to between game weeks 31 and 32, so there won't be time to rearrange. We've had a few curveballs with double game weeks this year. We'll be able to nail it down. So, you can have a look at your wildcard drafts if you want to, if you're super keen. But yeah, my take on that is wait until we do our live podcast and then listen to every goddamn word we say and follow us. Well, follow Scott wherever he does anyway, because he's the man that is absolutely leading the way. And speaking of Scott, he's joined us. Scott, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are we doing, boys? All
Yeah,
right.
we're doing all right. We've just covered off three hits. Basically, just to sum up, we haven't changed our minds on last week.
Okay, so not free hitting.
No, not free hitting.
No.
And if you are free hitting, we've still done the same drafts. So that summed up the last 20 minutes of podcast. Uh, so,
Quick question then. Quick question for you both.
mhm.
What's the maximum, if any, minus you'd take this week?
Very interesting. Depends who it's for. So my decision this week is, do I take a minus to have a playing goalkeeper or not? And the answer is probably not.
Probably not worth 2 points. You probably blank. You probably may taking a -2 there, aren't you?
Probably. Even if it is
Yeah.
maybe a sells, or yeah, I just wouldn't put it on Jose's side. I just don't know if I don't bet on Wolves keeping clean sheets still. Um, if I was short on an obvious attacker, maybe someone like a Chris Wood, then I'd be taking a minus
Mhm.
four to get someone like him in because he's definitely a potential captain option as well. If there was an obvious midfielder, maybe you were lacking a Bournemouth midfielder this week because they seem to look quite good going forward. Somebody along those lines, yeah, probably take a minus four. But other than that, I wouldn't really take a minus for anybody. Nobody else really excites me that much. Baz, what do you think?
I think exactly the same. I think there's no point doing it. And you know what I'm like with minuses, I don't like doing them. But if you really want like a Chris Wood, as we talked about, he's potentially going to be our captain, and you know what you're going to get from him. You're going to get him. He's going to stay up there. He's going to fight for everything. He's going to get in the crosses, and he's going to get potentially a few goals. So he's 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 looking like well, he's got his best scoring in the Premier League. So, and he's going to probably keep that up because still a lot of games to be played. So for me, it depends on who you're bringing in. I wouldn't be doing it for a defender or a goalkeeper for like a 2 points or a 1 point or maybe even a free if you've got a save points, for example. Because as I mentioned, clean sheets are hard to come by. So for me, it would probably be attacking them three teams that are near the bottom. So you'd be looking at like a potential Wolves player, maybe. But I won't be going crazy about that. So a Forest player and probably a Man United player would put like a Bruno or yeah, that's probably about it for,
It
for Man
is
U,
that
to be
is it.
honest.
That is it.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe a minus four for a Bruno because he's quite a good punt against a team that's really bad, like a team like Leicester, and he's on all the set pieces, and that seems where we're most likely to score from. And he's basically our only creative player that seems to be doing
He's
anything. So
he's very spurious, isn't he? He's always getting in and around there. Yeah, my word of the week.
I like that. Have you got a word of the week calendar these days? Is that what
It's only connect mate. Great series. I highly recommend everyone to watch that. Increase the vocabulary, but yeah, Bruno Fernandes is definitely very spurious.
Nice.
I might start calling you Simon Jordan using complex languages to confuse everyone.
Oh, you love listening to Talk Sport, don't you, Baz? Let's do captains then of the fixtures. So Saturday's fixtures: Everton, West Ham, Ipswich Forest, City, Brighton, Southampton, Wolves, and Bournemouth, Brentford. Arsenal, Chelsea on Sunday with Fulham, Spurs, and Leicester, Man U. If you are free hitting this week, is it a Haaland job? What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, your first thing you do, don't you, every week is see who Southampton are playing. But with Cunha probably would have been the one regardless if he wasn't banned. But yeah, look at those fixtures. Everyone knows I'm a home whore. Um, Brighton are on a good run. What, six wins in a row? Brighton, I think, are on one of like the club record. I think for the top of the top division. But yeah, Haaland's is City are getting there. Haaland's definitely looking a bit sharper and a bit more on it. So he would be my pick on a free hit. Yeah.
Yeah, and for your team, because obviously you haven't got Haaland at the moment. Where's your armband going at this moment?
Yeah. Well, it was on Munoz a second ago. Why? It's not even playing. I've just slapped it on Chris Wood right now. Palmer's out of form away at Arsenal. Bowen's hit and miss away at Everton, a tough game. Looking at my own team, sorry, I really not when people do that. Um, Most of my transfers, free transfers coming in this week are going to be defenders. Not putting in a defender. So mine would only be if I do decide to bring in maybe a Bruno Fernandes. Might put it on him, but I like the Chris Wood shout. Ipswich are leaky, and Chris Wood's always there or thereabouts.
Yeah. Um, my decision this week on my transfers is do I can't yeah. If I did take a -4, I'd be getting Bruno in and then I'd be downgrading Allison to probably like a keeper I could afford, and then I would be taking a -4 to kind of get Bruno in. So it's just yeah, I probably just do that because, even though I think it's the wrong decision, I want to have a player in there as I support, and then also I'm quite far behind, so you never know. Might take a gamble. Any left field shouts, Baz, before we talk about the Carabao Cup final?
Do Bears do what in the woods? Go on, Bars. Rattle 10 names off.
Uh, Maybe a Wolves player. I know we just said about how bad they are without Cunha. If if Munotzi's fit and available, why not stick it on him? 0.1% owned. Get that on you.
I thought you were going to say Raul Jimenez, to be honest, because that took
Yeah, he was on there to fair. He scored a good goal uh, in the week, but yeah.
yeah, someone along those lines anyway as well. Um, Scott, yeah, I'm glad you've joined us as the voice of the people. Obviously, everyone on this podcast is really upset that Liverpool went out of the Champions League this week. Um, how do you feel they'll fare in the Carabao Cup final this weekend?
Yeah, yeah, I mean it's an interesting one, isn't it? The fact that it went all the way to penalties has got to be slightly better news for Newcastle because obviously they're going to be a little bit more tired. And it could go either way, can't it? It could really have just demoralised them. It's in the back of Salah's head, isn't it? Is that my Ballon d'Or gone? As much as he'll say it won't be, it will be in his head that. Could see how sad he was. Or, which I think probably will happen, it will motivate him even more to be like, actually, we're having a great season. We want to at least titles won. They won't come out and say it, but they all know it. Internal chat will be titles won. We want to at least we want a double. We want to finish the season with a double, which will be an unbelievable achievement for Arnie Slot in his first season. So, yeah, I feel for Newcastle without Anthony Gordon as well. Massive, massive blow. So yeah, unfortunately, I think Liverpool will get the job done. I really, really hope Newcastle win. I really like Newcastle, and I really like Eddie Howe.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really hope Newcastle win, but it also feels like Isak's kind of being bandaged up, doesn't it, as well? When you go through these phases as a player, he he like he obviously was on absolute flames like 3, 4 weeks ago, and now it just feels like he's sort of being nursed. Because he is a bit injury prone, which is probably one of his only downsides. Um, but yeah, I can't see anything other than Liverpool winning that trophy at the weekend, to be honest. And I watched the Stick to Football today that they put out with Rooney on it instead of Carragher, and even Jamie Carragher was like, "Well, the title's won." and that's a Liverpool fan. And when you speak to Liverpool fans, they're normally the most pessimistic humans I think I've ever met in my life. But even they know it's over, don't they? Um, Score prediction, Baz, for the weekend?
Hmm. 2-1. No,
Liverpool.
sorry, 2-0. Sorry, I don't think Newcastle score. I don't. Isaac's off it, and I think missing Gordon's a massive loss. So, yeah, 2-0 Liverpool. I think.
Scott, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think maybe one nil Liverpool. I fear that Newcastle will perform how they did the other week against, was it City, when they didn't offer anything?
Yeah,
Or was it Liverpool? It was City, yeah. And also Lewis Hall, he's had a brilliant season. He's obviously out as well. Really big player.
yeah, it is. It's a bad time for an injury like that. Um, Right, lads. Unfortunately, I don't have time for differential draft because I've got to pick my lovely little kids up from nursery, and we waffled on too much. And I do mean that, by the way. I sounded really sarcastic about my own children. Then, no, I am genuinely disappointed to do the draft, but we will do it, and we will get it posted, and we'll do it tonight and get it up as soon as we possibly can do. But thanks for joining us for the last part, Scott. Really appreciate that, and thanks for joining me as well, Baz. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to wherever you get your podcasts from. Give us 5 stars there. And also to follow us on our social media platforms, Oddball Pod, Oddball P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And follow the FPL Affairs Facebook group. Scott, bye for now.
Cheerio.
Barry, goodbye for now from the van.
Bye for now.
And goodbye from me.